Okay, welcome back to day 76, I think. I got my sock again. And as you can see, like I did the heel. I thought I was dropping this. And then it's an awkward shape right now, but it's like sock, you know? Okay. It's awkward, okay? It doesn't show up well on camera. By that I mean, I don't know why it's so stiff. But on me, and so now I'm just pretty much knitting the length I need from the heel to like the toe part, and then I'll make the toe. So what I want to do is make it into pretty much essentially the big toe starts, I think, like around there. Like, and then the rest of it is being made. That's where I'm at, knitting up from where I am at the middle, like, or the end of the heel. Like, I did like the heel, and now I'm going here, and then the toe area is last. And then they don't even share a toilet. Like, he says things, but he doesn't mean it. He doesn't follow through. Now this is at an awkward angle, and it's like in my way. Yeah, today I binge watched all of the TV show Blown Away. I binge watched all of season 2 with my sibling. Got allergy shots and came home and finished binge watching the whole season in one day. How's your quarantine being? Well, it's not quarantine, social distancing, but I refuse to get COVID. I just refuse, so I've been really, really, really cautious with everything. We haven't gone places. I literally haven't seen people. I haven't seen my dad in a year. So be super safe. But since I have to go in the next like 2 weeks, I need to go to 3 different appointments. So I refuse to get sick, because if I am one of the reasons that like my nurse or the front desk lady gets sick, even a doctor, we have a meeting with the doctor, I was like, no, I'm not going to be the reason that they get sick. One of them is getting her second shot, and I'm guessing a few days to a week, but the other people, like the one nurse, she can't get it because she's pregnant, so she can't get it until the baby's born. And so like it's just something that she can't do. But I don't know, it was a Blown Away show with the one guy who, he's like, I'm arrogant, blah, blah, and I'm like, okay, sure. The very first time I saw him on screen, I'm like, oh, that's fake confidence, right? And then he kept talking, and in the other episodes, more and more, like halfway through, he gets worse and worse for me. And he's just saying how, like, he's better, and he's like, oh, they're gonna call this technique this, like, my name now. And I'm like, you just said it had a name called the French something, or the French technique. It has a name. You did not invent it. You do not get it named after you. He has very much white guy syndrome in that sense. And if I ever have white guy syndrome, kill me. Just do it. But yeah, with the white guy syndrome, he's like taking, techniques that, it's not new. He just did it. He just like executed a technique that, again, he did not make up. And then he was saying like a lot of these things where, he's like, oh, I'm the like edgy bad boy or whatever, the outsider of this like kind of thing. I'm like, no, you're not. You're the mainstream. Like, I don't know. And then it's one of those things where he thinks it's cool to do a certain technique even if it isn't practical or the effect he wants. Like, I don't think it worked really well personally, but maybe it did. He like used his own shoe as a mold or a cast for the hot glass. I get it, it looks cool and everything, but couldn't you just done that? Like, everyone else got the same exact, like, got a shape, like a rounded log shape, not needing a shoe. And it's just like one of those things where he unnecessarily, like, he does a technique, or he does a thing to do it, not for like the results. And I don't know, it's one of those things where it's kind of odd, and then, but at the same time, if someone else does something similar to him, he calls that one bad, but his is good. Where he mentioned one of them, he mentioned that this one particular person, he's like, oh, well, I'm gonna beat her, obviously, kind of thing. And I was like, okay, kind of weird, but okay, what's up? And he's just like, yeah, I think mine is done better than hers, so I think I deserve this, like, win, because I think, mine was just mine is just better. And I'm just like, how? You're doing essentially the same thing. And it's like, oh, well, hers lacks the technique. And I'm like, sometimes, here's the thing. When you're a true expert at something, you can break the mold of technique to make art. Fun fact. So, I'm no master of, like, knitting, right? I'm no master. So I follow the rules that are given to me, because that's where I'm good at, within the rules. Well, good is loose for what I'm good at. And it just, sorry, a lot. Taking, like, the rules and trying to bend it. I couldn't take a pattern, like a sock. I don't know why it goes in like that, but you know what, it's a sock. You take a sock. I don't know how to change this into something else. If I wanted to, like, make it multicolored, I know how to make it like this a color and this a color and this. Like, I can do it this way. But let's say I wanted to do like a zigzag pattern, like a zigzag this way across these, or even just here, or something besides just plain like stripes. I would not know how to do it. I would not know how. Like here, yeah. Make it like here? No, I would not know how to do this and do it well. And so, people can do these things and it's amazing. But once you know the rules, you can break them. And he thinks he's doing that when he's not. He's following the rules and he's just making it complicated, not breaking the rules. Like he didn't have a mold or a cast, so he used the shoe. That's not breaking the rules. It's a roundabout. It's it's innovative, but it's not revolutionary. And he really thinks he's being revolutionary here. Spoilers to this show, but he actually got He actually got eliminated to the girl because he's like, well, I definitely will make it past her. I'll definitely make it past her. And I'm just like, okay, maybe don't feel like that. Like, I don't know, and I don't want to read too into it, and I don't know, because a lot of times, apparently, reality shows, they will, like, be purposely getting, like, the antagonist or, like, the bad guy in the series to be there, to be the bad guy, and that's weird. Oh, okay, there we go. For this guy, so I don't know if he was like told or if it was editing, so I don't want to be like it's one thing or another or whatever. However, the idea that he's like, oh, I'm not here to make friends. Like, here's the thing: no one was asking you to be friends, not because of any reason. It's just like you kind of just seem like a jerk. Not, I don't know, and he kind of very belittles a lot of other people, and I don't want to jump to conclusions, but he talked about, in one moment, he talked about, like, his father's passing on the day he joined the competition here, like, there in the, whatever, like, office, I don't know where, hotel, wherever they went. It was the first day he went there. That's when his father passed, and clearly he didn't have time to deal. So after that episode, he did get a lot more. It sounded like he got a lot more sweet, like nice. But again, editing magic. Cut out him being a jerk. Cut. Suddenly he looks like he's a sympathetic dude. So I don't know what's true and what's like editing. Because I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, he's lasting a while, but we kind of like, let's make him a jerk, and then for an episode after, let's make him super sympathetic, and then bring him back to where he was. And that's kind of how it worked. So I don't know. I don't want to jump to conclusions with that. But he also started tearing up and crying over talking about his mother's death, which is horrible. Obviously, that's something that, it's a horrible thing, losing someone. Apparently, so traumatically, he mentioned being in the car that the accident was in, took her life. He was there. But it was pretty obvious right away that he never dealt with it. He never talked to someone professionally. overall, I'm not mad at who won. I actually really like their final design a lot. I think the person I was rooting for from like the beginning didn't win, which is sad, but I think she made it as far as, you know, as much as she could, and I think it was really nice to see it, and I really liked the person's finale piece. It was really cool. I think obviously a little bit more time and not being in the studio and stuff like that, it would turn out a lot better. I think it would have turned out a lot better, but I think it's really nice. Obviously I'm not a glass blower and I am not an artist, so I would not watch. So that's a lie. Actually, I can't show that. It's a phallic symbol with flowers coming out the top that I'm proud of. And so what happened is, besides that, I'm not an artist, and so obviously creating these things, and I don't know how much time in advance they have to decide what they want to make and stuff. Especially if it's on the fly, I would not be able to. But the very, what he called arrogant, I called stubborn, white guy syndrome, not listening to the prompts. He just multiple times just went, it's not really what I want, and just didn't do it. I think that guy, lasted on sheer talent, because I don't know, man. I think if I was in charge, like, a lot of it was commissioned, like with artwork like that. So it's like, if I commission to do something, obviously you have the right to turn down, but like being on a competition show where you're supposed to do these things, it's kind of like you're supposed to do these things where, like, I was in school, there was an older woman in my class, and she was saying that the teacher went up to her, and the teacher was like, why are you writing this essay? And the lady went, well, I'm writing this essay because you told me to. It's for my final. I need to do it. And I did not, and I'm just like sitting there like, that is not what the teacher wants to hear. And surprise, the teacher was not happy. She was like, why would you say that? Like, no, you're supposed to put passion in it. If you don't have passion behind your writing, why are you writing? And she just like, because I need to for my degree. And I'm just like, no, shut the hell up. And she's like, why are you writing it? I'm like, because I'm super, to me, and I'm like, I'm super passionate about this. 100% passionate. Love this topic. And to be fair, I did, like, there was a medium amount of passion behind it, but it wasn't like, oh my goodness, I would need to write this. It was like, if I'm gonna write something, I don't mind researching and writing this. But it just is something that I think a lot of people don't realize, that like sometimes, like, especially in the younger generation, you're taught to pretty much just shut up and do it. And so the shut up and do it thing, I guess, I don't know if you grow out of it as you get older and you're just like, yeah, well, I don't need to shut up and do it. Or if they just didn't have that. And I honestly don't know which one it is, because so many older, like a certain generation, they just don't have that just shut up and do it. And I'm like, excuse me, you weren't taught to just shut your mouth, don't say anything, and just do your work like a little good worker? Apparently not. And I think that's really interesting. And by interesting, I mean pretty screwed up, because it's so harmful. And then teachers, especially, on the other hand, through grade school, you're taught to not talk at all during class. And then once you get to college, they're like, why are you guys so quiet? These new kids, literally, I had multiple professors come to me, like my age group, and say that we're too quiet. And I'm like, you don't see why? And apparently not. Apparently they do not understand why we were so quiet. And they're like, you really need to learn to start being louder. I'm like, it's not our fault. We were taught this, and apparently it was something that a few years ago the teacher didn't experience. So now he experiences it, and he's confused why.